Welcome to Operation Data Analytics. In this video, we're going to cover the COUNTIFS function in Microsoft Excel. The COUNTIFS function can be used to quickly count the number of values based on multiple criteria. Before we begin, I do want to let you know there is a free download link in the description for the sample workbook I will be using during this video. For our first objective, we're going to go ahead and count the number of sales for Iowa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on cell F7 and I'm going to type equals COUNTIFS and then open parentheses. Now you'll notice a pop-up box appears below the cell that's actually telling us the arguments that the function is looking for. So in this instance, the function is actually looking for criteria range 1. So since we want to count the number of sales for Iowa, what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to left click on column C to select the entire column. And then we're going to insert a comma to tell the function that we have located criteria range 1. So now you can see the function is now prompting us for the argument criteria 1. So since we're trying to locate the sales for Iowa, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a quote, and then I'm going to type Iowa into the function, followed by another quote, and then I'm going to close the parentheses. So how this function reads is we want it to count the number of instances in column C that equal Iowa. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on my keyboard, and you'll see that the count is showing as 3. So if we manually locate this, we can see that there's only 3 instances of Iowa in column C, which corresponds to our COUNTIFS function. Our next objective is going to be on the Objective 2 tab. And for this objective, we're going to count the number of sales that Abby Baker made in Nevada. So I'm going to start by clicking on cell F7, and I'm going to type equals COUNTIFS, open parentheses. And then our first criteria range, since we're looking for Abby Baker, is going to be column B, where our employee names are located. So go ahead and left click on column B, and then insert a comma. And then the next argument we're looking for is criteria 1, which is Abby Baker. So I'm going to insert a quote and type Abby Baker, and then another quote. And again, we're going to separate this criteria by a comma. And now you can see the function is asking us for criteria range 2. So since we're looking for the number of sales that Abby Baker made in Nevada, what we're going to do is we're going to left click on column C, insert another comma, and then we're going to insert a quote, type Nevada, another quote, and then we're going to close our parentheses. So how this function reads is we want to perform a count whenever column B equals Abby Baker and column C equals Nevada. So go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard. As you can see, the count is showing 2. And if we manually look at our data to the left, you can see that we only have 2 rows where our conditions were met with Abby Baker and Nevada. For our next objective, we're going to go ahead and go over to the Objective 3 tab. And for this objective, we're going to count the number of sales that Abby Baker made using a variable cell target. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cell G7, and I'm going to type equals COUNTIFS, open parenthesis. And since we're looking for Abby Baker, I'm going to left click on column B to select the entire column. I'm going to insert a comma. Now, instead of what we've been doing where we would type Abby Baker in directly to the function, we're actually going to redirect the function to a specific cell. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on cell F7, and then I'm going to close my parentheses. So how this function reads is we want to perform a count whenever column B is equal to cell F7, which in this case is Abby Baker. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard. And you can see the number of sales is showing 4, which corresponds with the number of times Abby Baker shows up in column B. Now, the nice thing about doing the function this way, where we're targeting a cell value, is we can quickly update this cell value if we need to get a count of a different employee. So, for example, I can go ahead and type in Alexander Martinez. And if you look at the number of sales, as soon as I hit enter on the keyboard, our number of sales has updated to 3 because the function has automatically recognized that it should only be performing a count when column B now equals Alexander Martinez. For our final objective, we're going to move over to the Objective 4 tab. And for this objective, we're going to count the number of sales for each employee. So I'm going to start by clicking on cell G7. I'm going to type equals COUNTIFS, open parentheses. And again, we're looking for the number of sales for each employee. So I'm going to go ahead and left click on column B where our employee names are, followed by a comma. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did in our last example, where we are going to redirect the function directly to the cell to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cell F7, and then I'm going to close my parentheses. Go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard, and you'll see that the number of sales is showing 4, which corresponds with our data to the left. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on cell G7, and in the lower right-hand corner, you'll notice a little green box. Go ahead and hover over that box until your cursor turns into a plus sign, and then double-click on your mouse. This is going to automatically copy and paste the function down, corresponding with the employee names to the left. That's everything we have for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more content like this in the future.